Greetings and welcome to Life Defining Axioms. Each axiom contains essential wisdom for living. Today's axiom is stated this way: bad, 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 and badder. Well, you and I both know there's no such a word as badder. So I can say bad, 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 and worser. Well, that doesn't work either. It's bad, 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 and more bad. That's what it is. Uh, Sometimes life is filled with choices that are bad. We live by the choices we make, whether they're good choices or bad choices, but sometimes the choices we have are all bad. Every choice I make is bad. There are no good options. There are no good alternatives. They're all bad. To stay in a situation is very meaningless. It's merciless. It's terrible. But to leave carries with it a great deal of uncertainty. And so we find ourselves in a position where every choice I make is either bad, or it's bad, or it's bad, or it's badder kind of thing. In such a case, you have two options. Number one is either to stay in the situation and be productive and happy, or two is to leave the situation and be productive and happy. The latter part, being productive and happiness, is not an option. You've got to be productive and you've got to be happy. But the choice is between leaving or staying. That is a difficult choice, particularly if the alternatives are all bad. Sometimes it's good just to consolidate your losses and walk away. Say arrivederci, do svidania, shalom, tatsins, or whatever language you speak in. Sometimes it's best to just consolidate your losses and leave. But you cannot carry bitterness or anger or self-pity, and you cannot carry unforgiveness in your heart. Forgive those who have really betrayed you and belittled you. But perhaps walking away is the solution. However, there's a better solution. It's a good choice. And you remember that God will use every difficult situation in your life to mold you into the person that He wants you to be, the person of Jesus. He's changing me from glory to glory. He's changing me into His likeness and image. He's creating in me. That's basically what God is doing with the difficulties you face. He wastes no tears and no pain and no unhappiness in molding you into the person that He wants you to be. There's a portion of scripture in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 16, and I will paraphrase this most of it. For wherefore we faint not, though our outward man perishes, yet the inward man is renewed day by day. For our light affliction, which is just for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. And that's why we don't look at the things which are seen, but the things which are not seen. And I ask this question: what kind of an eyes do you have to see the impossible, to see things that are not seen, to see beyond the temporal, to see beyond the now, beyond today, and beyond the stress that we face? But we have to have the eyes of faith, the eyes of faith. And that gives us a good choice. If you have your eyes focused upon the Lord, your choice is good. The example here is found of Abraham. Abraham was a pagan, you know. He manufactured idols for demonic worship. And one day God called Abram out of his father's country, away from his business, away from everything, and go into a land that I will show you. In Hebrews chapter 11, verse 8 through 10, and I paraphrase this again, Abraham, by faith, when he was called, went out into a land, into the wilderness that he knew nothing about, to look for a city that was not yet built, across a plain that had no roads, no trails, no paths to follow. He did not know where he was going, but he knew who was directing him. Now that is a good choice. Sometimes we need a moral compass inside when we're traveling through the wilderness in our experience. Do you have a moral compass? That compass is Jesus. Place your faith in Him. Well, during one of the most difficult times in my life, when my wife was dying, this poem became a very inspiration to me. And it goes like this. A block of granite stood. The poem is called The Sculptor, and it talks about a sculptor who stood before a block of marble or a block of granite. And just listen to the words of this poem. A block of marble stood before the sculptor where he would. He smote with hand well skilled, and thus with blow on blow fulfilled the vision of his mind. At first with chisel coarse and stroke unspared the corners off he broke, and soon the form appeared. And then with finer tools he wrought, and finer still, until he brought the perfect image forth. So with unerring skillfulness, with cunning hand and sure, 'tis as the marble groweth less, the likeness groweth more. So God divinely works with those he in eternal ages chose to work his work of grace, and thus with blow on blow to trace the image of his Son. How blessed to know that he who holds his tools before his eyes beholds his own beloved one. The cares and toils day by day, the trials that o'ershade the way, together work for good, and nothing e'er by chance befalls the one in whom God by purpose calls, in him who's great, and nothing e'er by chance befalls the one whom God in purpose calls, in him whose love is found. And when we have the glory gained, and Christ's full image have attained, we'll praise his wondrous grace, and bless that hand that dealt each blow upon this marble here below, in working out his will. That poem was found anonymously written in the cover of a missionary's Bible who had just been martyred for the cause of Christ. Wow, what a comfort that is. First Peter chapter 1 verse 7 says this, that the trial of your faith being much more precious than fine gold which perishes, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto the praise and the honor and the glory and the appearing of Jesus Christ. Now that is wisdom for living. I am Wilf Kent. Visit our website online, icbconline.org. Farewell and keep well until next time.